With the budget concerns in the last couple of years and not wanting to raise dues, the security budget has actually been cut about 10% the last 2 years. The good news is, for '08 statistics, we've actually reduced the incidents and the expenditure with vandalism to less than half of what it was the year before. Now, that really is due in no small part to everybody here and people in the community. We added several neighborhood watch and block watch programs last year. That's the good news. The bad news is we should have added dozens of neighborhood watches, because that's really the impact and the power that we have within our community, especially because, you know, trying to be stewards of all of our dues and not wanting dues increases, just throwing out money at it, frankly, doesn't have the impact that we do in the community. So I know I get up every year and I talk about block watches, and we're successful every year. We add that Auburn is just incredibly responsive, and they're awesome as far as coming down. And in fact, and I'm going to throw this date out twice, the 25th, there's a meeting, and I believe it's going to be about 6:30 at the community center. And it's going to deal with several different community issues, one of which is the neighborhood watch and the block watch program. So I invite you to please pencil that date in, keep an eye on the reader board or the website for that date. I think I'm tentative at the 6:30, it might be 6, it might be 7, but I think it's somewhere in the 6:30 hour. Security this last year, again, we've tried to keep visibility at a high point. 260 garages, I think, that we've helped homeowners close in the middle of the night when they left them open. You know, 1,000 different touches. I mean, you know, these are all fun things, but when your car's gone or your generator or your tools out of the garage, you know, it matters more. Again, security, the thing everybody loves to hate until it happens to us. Sunset Park, you may have noticed that there are some cameras there now. Don't be lulled into a false sense of security. Cameras sometimes do that to us. Those are not monitored cameras. Those are not somebody watching for those groups of kids that are there. That doesn't take the place of us in the community. Another issue with Sunset Park is now that it's a park and ride facility, the gates don't close at night. Park and ride is awesome. I mean, and getting in, and I don't know if the mayor's going to touch on it, but more public transportation up on the hill. There's a lot of wonderful things going on, but inherent to that, the gates that used to close at dusk no longer close at dusk because it's a park and ride there. It's my understanding. So the mayor might clarify that. That is a public park. That is not necessarily under our control. But again, the 911, it took me years of the mayor really instilling it into me and coming from different parts of the country where 911 was something different. You know, the Valley owns the 911 center. So whether it's a stoplight that's out or crimes happening, 911 is what you call every time. An accident on the side of the road, and it works. It is absolutely amazing. And yes, it did take me years to think and actually tell people that, but 911 works. Another great thing we've got going this year, really, Rob Dickey, thank you. There's a community service program that he started. That there's
I don't know if he started it, but make sure it works.
I think he was the first inductee, no, but he's certainly managing it. And we've got a jail or community service option for many people. And it's 12 Saturdays worth of community service cleaning up our area. What most people don't know is when you woke up the day after Halloween, there were 87 pumpkins that were thrown and spattered around. And I'll admit, when I got up the next morning driving around, I didn't see one of them. It's because he had the crew out cleaning it all up. And trust me, these kids will tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends, the 12 Saturdays with Rob Dickey in the rain, sun, doesn't matter, is not fun. So again, this is something that we can do that doesn't cost us money, and it was just a brilliant idea. I'm going to bring up the 25th again. The real reason that we picked that date for the meeting, and it's expanded now, was for a gang awareness. And now it's, you know, community service, neighborhood watch. And some of you may have seen, if you get the mayor's updates weekly, a couple months ago there was just a nice, small, subtle line in his update that said our first gang member arrested in Lakeland. But I'm here to tell you that just because a gang member was arrested does not mean it was gang activity. And in fact, it was not gang activity. There was a tip from other venues and other law enforcement agencies that someone who happens to be in a gang from another area was going to be in this area. So it was not gang activity. However, Auburn, and I applaud Auburn PD and the gang unit and you know, all of it really being driven by the mayor, to be proactive, because frankly, there are a lot of communities that were surrounded by gang activity. It's not here now. We don't want it to be here. So Auburn's being very, very proactive. So I encourage everybody to tell your neighbors and tell your friends and bring your kids. Come to the community center on the 25th, because that's one of the hot topics, is we want to be proactive. We don't want it. It's a lot easier to keep gangs out than it is to get rid of them after they've come in. And there's a lot of fallacies about gangs. You know, just because you see the group of the kids at the skate park or at Sunset or at Lakeland doesn't mean they're a gang. Frankly, most of the issues we have are from our own kids that live here, that just have time on their hands, and we all know about, you know, idle time on their hands. So again, we don't have a gang problem, but we don't want a gang problem. So I encourage everybody to come. Just additionally, the Valley Regional Fire Authority, I don't know if I have that backwards or right, you know, there's a wonderful evolution here in the last few years of resources and accessibility. I want to let everybody know too, as a reminder, your smoke detectors, once a year, you want to make sure you change your batteries. And I heard a great tip tonight, that one of the biggest issues with fires in homes are kids with Bic lighters in closets. There's a great tip to put the battery-powered smoke detectors in your closets. It's a great tip there. And to those, there are many, many elderly people or shut-ins that live in Lakeland. The Regional Valley Authority is more than happy to come out and help you change your batteries or help you check your home, your smoke detectors, and everything else. So even if you know a neighbor or somebody, volunteer to help yourself or offer up. Call, I'll bet you 911 would work, even to have some, to get some help for a neighbor that needs to get up on that ladder and check those, and they're not able to. So, thank you.
So next, last committee report is landscape, and that's Chris Stotts or Stats? Stats.
If we have already registered, like a couple of years ago,